They had barely emerged from the hushed menace of Wobblewood when they heard it, a faint giggle, round and hollow, like clay tapping against clay. Sir Blop froze, one squishy foot half sunk in moss. "Please tell me that was a friendly mushroom," he whispered, but the giggle came again, closer this time, and then another and another, until the air was buzzing with strange, wet laughter. From behind crooked stumps and beneath piles of forest scrap, small round figures began to rise, dozens of them, no taller than Droop's snout, with lumpy heads, saggy arms, and eyes like melted marbles. They shuffled forward with arms outstretched and wide, wobbly grins. The goblins had arrived. They were unlike any goblins the group had imagined. No snarls, no sharp weapons, no insults or curses hurled. Instead, these goblins simply wanted hugs, warm, squelchy, unreasonably long hugs. They used with affectionate energy, their bodies patched together from discarded clay bits, some with spoon handles for ears, others with old button eyes. "Welcome, squish friends," one chirped, arms wiggling with delight. "We've been waiting so long to embrace," Muck, stepping forward cautiously, raised her wand. "I don't suppose we could shake hands instead?" But the goblins surged closer, chanting hugs, hugs, hugs. In unison, their sticky feet making suction sounds with every step. Droop tried to flap away, but sneezed mid-lift, showering the entire front row in glitter, which only made them more excited. "Shiny sneeze, best sneeze, hug him twice." Sir Blop attempted diplomacy. "We're on a very important quest, you see, we can't stop for." Emotional globs, but the goblins closed in, giggling and bouncing, until Knight Butterknife stepped between them and struck a dramatic pose. "If it's joy you want, then let it be a challenge of honor. I propose a dance-off." There was a pause. Then a collective gasp rippled through the goblins. "Dance, dance," they shrieked, forming a wide, squishy circle. What followed was less a contest and more a spectacle of flailing limbs and off-rhythm jumps. Butterknife twirled with rigid dignity, legs wobbling beneath his polished handle. A goblin responded by doing a slow-motion somersault, landing flat with a splat. Another goblin moonwalked in reverse, then hugged a tree. Droop, perhaps caught in the moment, did an airborne barrel roll, but sneezed again mid-spin, creating a glitter explosion that coated the entire clearing in shimmering dust. The goblins cheered. "Best dance, sparkle dance, hug party now." And before anyone could protest, the goblins descended, one latched onto Blob's leg. Another wrapped around Muck's broomstick, murmuring "you feel like old soup." Princess Grumble stood rigid as three goblins tried to form a pyramid to reach her shoulders. "Touch me and I'll turn your hugs into tax forms," she threatened, but they only laughed. It took time and patience and several shouted spells that only made the goblins giggle more. But eventually, the team managed to convince them through awkward side pats, delayed twirls, and a generous promise of clay cookies that they had to continue their journey. One goblin, larger than the rest, clung to Butterknife and sobbed. "You dance with honor," it sniffled like broken fork. But Shiny Butterknife bowed solemnly. "I shall carry that sentiment forever." As the group finally pried themselves free and stepped beyond the goblin grove, they were dripping with affection, literal affection, in the form of sticky fingerprints and glitter smudges. Sir Blop sighed. "Well, at least they weren't trying to eat us." Muck examined her broom, now dotted with smiley face imprints. "I think one of them whispered their life story to my kneecap." Princess Grumble didn't speak, but she wiped a small smudge of clay off her armor and didn't complain about it. That was progress. They walked on, damp and glittering, toward the next bend in the path. And just beyond the trees, as the sun dipped behind Chillstone Ridge, the air grew colder, and the land began to rise. The mountains awaited icy, distant, and guarded by something far less cuddly. But for now, they carried warmth on their backs, sticky, sparkly, inconvenient warmth. And for Sir Blop, it smelled faintly of jelly.